We can now all agree that the moral crimes committed here by Ryan Reynolds against Justin Baldoni have amounted to high treason. After having read through the amended lawsuit, Ryan absolutely must go home, and I have got some major scoops. I mean, everybody's talking because the sink is shipping and people want to get onto lifeboats.
What I'm thinking is, what Brian Friedman is going to say is, so you were upset that you say your wife was harassed? And he's going to say yes. And he's going to say, yet
unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been sexually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation.
Celebrities avoiding Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds really goes to show that their careers are pretty much done and over.
But funny enough, you can't find the entire video. I only found the clip. So it was very bizarre that clip just was sitting somewhere in the clouds, and I couldn't find a full video, but that's what I found.
Says he went in there, Ryan Reynolds starts gushing with praise about Blake Lively's rewrite. He says that meeting happened, and then a few hours later, Taylor Swift waltzes into the room and...
Did you know that one of Hollywood's top directors reportedly vowed never to work with Ryan Reynolds again after their first movie together? Or that a former crew star once described working with him as the worst experience of their career? In the next 12 minutes, you'll uncover the real behind-the-scenes stories, those tense moments and conflicts that allegedly turned 5 celebrities against the man the world knows as a charming prankster. Stay tuned, because the 4th celebrity on this list may be the one that shocks you the most.
familiar, and that Blake Lively would certainly know because she did almost the exact same scene. Yeah.
Wow.
And
it's strikingly similar.
Some of the dance moves,
Yeah.
the spinning of her. Now you could say, look, that's just fan theory, is that Ryan Reynolds saw that scene in It Ends With Us, and it was
Got jealous?
a trigger, and that he is, because there are some people who feel like he is the one who's driving all of this
He's
and
pulling
telling
the
Blake.
strings behind.
I don't think that seems very unfair to
Right.
Blake Lively,
That's
to me,
pretty diabolical.
who also had an experience, she has said in her lawsuit, that she was sexually harassed.
Right. That theory completely minimizes her feelings here, but
But some fans who are, of course, going to keep theorizing on this as long as it keeps
so is the
playing
idea
out.
that Ryan was jealous and he thought, oh, hey.
Yes. And
Wow.
look, this has been like an ongoing theory that like Ryan Reynolds is the guy that's behind all of this, because people feel that Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively were secretly in love while filming this. And if you listen to some of like the voice text that he sent her, it seems like a very, like they had originally like a very intimate conversation, and like, you know, just their conversations
or it
were
was
just
him
very
speaking
like
at 2 a.m.
love-like.
Or that's just his voice at 2 a.m.
Yes, but fans are really reading into this, and they're like, you know, Ryan is so jealous of this relationship. He's trying to torpedo this. And look, at the end of the day, the scenes do kind of look alike. You know, the interaction, the camera angles, the dancing, but it's just another scene. And
Remember when Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds shared the screen in Green Lantern? Well, there's reportedly another A-list actress who now refuses to even be in the same room as him. Sandra Bullock, once his charming co-star in The Proposal, is said to want nothing to do with Hollywood's favorite jokester anymore. Their on-screen chemistry in the hit romantic comedy was undeniable, earning praise from fans and critics alike, and behind the scenes, they appeared to share a strong professional relationship, with studios even considering future projects to recreate their success. However, things allegedly changed quickly when tension arose during the filming of a key emotional scene. According to industry sources, Reynolds went off script and improvised jokes that caught Bullock off guard, turning what was meant to be a carefully prepared, vulnerable moment for her character into a showcase for humor that undercut the scene's emotional weight, leaving her furious and permanently straining their working relationship. What may have started as a behind-the-scenes disagreement reportedly escalated during the film's press tour, with Reynolds repeatedly taking credit in interviews for the success of the scene, openly praising his improvisational skills while failing to acknowledge Bullock's performance, which many felt was the emotional anchor of the moment. The tension allegedly reached a breaking point at the 2013 Met Gala, where witnesses claim Reynolds ignored Bullock throughout the evening, despite being just feet away, and when mutual friends tried to bring them together for a photo, he reportedly left abruptly, leaving her visibly embarrassed.
Ryan Reynolds starts gushing with praise about Blake Lively's rewrite. He says that meeting happened, and then a few hours later, Taylor Swift waltzes into the room and also gushes with praise over the rewrite of the scene. And he says, and his words in the lawsuit are pretty clear, he says, "It was clear to me that I was being pressured to go with Blake Lively's rewrite." He then wrote to Blake Lively and said, "Listen, that meeting was cool. I liked your pages anyway. You didn't really need to. I liked your pages even before Taylor and Ryan came out to."
Sandra Bullock isn't the only A-lister who has reportedly drawn a firm line when it comes to working with Ryan Reynolds, as another Hollywood relationship tied to the Deadpool franchise is said to have collapsed beyond repair. T.J. Miller, who played Wade Wilson's loyal sidekick, Weasel, allegedly walked away from one of the most successful superhero franchises in history, leaving millions in potential earnings behind after tensions with Reynolds escalated. According to insiders, when Deadpool entered development, Reynolds was deeply involved in every aspect of production, from script rewrites to marketing, effectively controlling the project, a level of influence that quickly put him at odds with Miller. During filming, Reynolds' constant improvisation reportedly cut into Miller's screen time, with sources claiming that agreed-upon scenes were repeatedly overshadowed by Reynolds' added dialogue. The situation worsened during the promotional campaign when Reynolds' marketing company, Maximum Effort, took charge of advertising, leaving Miller barely visible in posters, trailers, and social media despite his major supporting role. Text messages allegedly show Miller confronting Reynolds over his diminishing presence, only to be reassured with promises of a larger role in the sequel. Promises that fell apart when Deadpool 2 reduced Weasel to a near cameo. The conflict reportedly exploded when Miller stormed into Marvel headquarters and confronted Reynolds in front of executives, with witnesses claiming the argument became so intense they had to be physically separated. Miller later summed up the fallout in a blunt interview, stating he would never work with Reynolds again, describing him as increasingly mean on set, and saying that once the mask came on, it felt like dealing with two different people, neither of whom respected him.
Nice.
They followed me. I said,
See, that's funny. That's a reveal because she's like, "Can we just stop?" But then she's in your DMs like, "Girl, keep it going."
She asked my post and she's like, "Oh, your coverage on this is amazing." And I messaged her. She's like, "You better keep going." And I'm like,
"Wow, that's an exclusive. That's hilarious."
I know. And the biggest, like, my favorite. I don't know if you ever watched Rizzoli and Isles.
Yes.
Dr. Isles has a podcast she's starting, and she messaged me. She wants me to come on.
It's wild. Enjoy. Well deserved. Well I love it. We'll talk more later. I would love, because I figured out where you are, but you're not in LA, because we're filming a lot of people in LA, and I'd love to include you in our doc if you're willing, but we'll talk more about that as we go. But while I have you, we do have some Ryan Reynolds updates I wanted to share. And so rather than just play your video, I thought it'd be fun if we could actually get you on here.
Notebook.
Oh, you got wow, that is the notebook?
No, this is the book of truth. It's everything. It's
amazing. You are doing the work. You are helping us get to the truth. So there's been a few Ryan Reynolds updates. First, before we get to even yours, I'm assuming you saw Matthew Lawrence was calling him out as well. Matthew Lawrence has the Brotherly Love podcast with the Lawrence brothers. Good for them. They're relevant again through this podcast.
Somehow.
Whoa, that's what I think of. Blossom, whoa. Here he was talking about Ryan.
It just missed the mark, but it was a really interesting movie. Great script.
Frankenbold or something was the movie?
The funny part about it is that the production team was having a really hard time with Ryan. Now, this is young Ryan. He wanted to wear his own clothes. Wait a minute. Wait a second. Are you telling me he was sending texts to the studio?
I've heard that before.
Back in the mid '90s. I wonder where Blake learned it from. No.
I'll never forget.
Allegedly.
I'll never.
All hearsay.
That's what they call an MO.
I was.
Go ahead. Sorry, I meant to pause. What were you saying?
I said that's what they call a method of operation on a criminal shows. That's an MO, if I've ever seen it.
Yes.
I'd grown up in the industry, so I'd known my way around a set by that point. I was dialed in, right?
You couldn't keep him away from craft service.
He wasn't dialed in.
I'm just kidding.
Okay? And he'd walk out, didn't really, just wanted to kind of do his thing. And the producers were getting really upset because they said, and they even told him, like, Ryan, this is a bad Jim Carrey impersonation. We don't want just not what we hired you to do. We thought you can't impersonate somebody. You got to do your own thing. And he got upset at that. And he was like, I'm doing my thing. And then I was privy to a meeting between the director and this crew had come from, I think they were just nominated for an Oscar. So they were.
Can I just love that we are in the state of the world where actors who don't get as much work can now make a podcast and dole out these old stories of the people that they always wanted to rag on. You go, Matthew Lawrence.
And it's a moneymaker now.
Kind of a big deal at that moment. Talk about frustrations on set with actors. Right. And I'll never forget being privy to this movie going, I can't believe this guy. We had so much hope for this guy. He's going nowhere.
That's funny. He's like the biggest. He's become literally the biggest.
You never know in Hollywood, folks.
But here's the difference.
You never know.
So anyway, but he was young. Do you fault him, Elsrich, on this one? Is this really that? Your story's worse. That's why I started with the last one. What do you think of this?
I wish he would call me and told me this story personally, so I could have released it with my wits, because I would have done numbers with the story. I mean, the comparisons I could have found within the story and what Blake is doing is just amazing to me. I wish everybody would come out the woodworks. I still feel like there are people who are scared to speak their truth, and it's amazing to me. Actually,
it's like Armie Hammer when he was so afraid to talk about Blake Lively firing him.
Oh yeah. And that's not even the worst of Gossip Girl stories that could come out. So
While TJ Miller's career faltered after Deadpool, another Hollywood figure was reportedly dealing with an even deeper sense of betrayal tied to Ryan Reynolds' rise. Before becoming a billion-dollar box office star, Reynolds was struggling to secure a hit after high-profile failures like Green Lantern and R.I.P.D., and according to multiple industry sources, his career turnaround may have come at someone else's expense. Insiders claim that in 2010, at a private industry gathering, comedian Dane Cook, Reynolds' former co-star from Waiting, was passionately pitching a personal passion project he had developed for years, an R-rated, fourth-wall-breaking superhero concept that openly mocked genre conventions. Not long afterward, Reynolds was suddenly pushing forward a remarkably similar project that would become Deadpool, allegedly using his remaining industry influence to fast-track it, while Cook's idea stalled in development limbo. When colleagues pointed out the similarities, Reynolds reportedly dismissed them as coincidence and even suggested Cook should feel flattered. Verified emails later showed Cook privately asking Reynolds to acknowledge his influence on the project's tone and structure, but sources claim Reynolds' legal team responded with cease and desist letters threatening litigation if Cook spoke publicly. According to Comedy Insiders, Cook lacked the resources to challenge Reynolds' growing power and was effectively silenced, leading several comedians close to him to quietly refuse working with Reynolds in solidarity. In a 2019 podcast, Cook made thinly veiled remarks about a Canadian actor who had taken a superhero concept he'd spent years developing, saying the hardest part wasn't losing the project, but watching someone else build an empire from his creative vision, while he was forced to smile through interviews, calling that person a genius.
Real quick. It's really interesting. A lot of them are just not looking at him at all, even though he's standing and talking. That's really interesting. And nobody's amused, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, they just thought it was puzzling that they would be out considering all the things that have been said in this war between Blake and Justin. So now, that's not to say that they were completely ignored. From what we've heard, there were people who were talking to them. Paul McCartney, strangely enough, was hanging out with them, but there were other people who actually avoided them, is what we heard, that were just didn't want to get into conversation with them.
Well, you can understand it. They're sort of radioactive. In one breath, Blake Lively is saying she was the subject of serious sexual harassment during the filming of It Ends With Us, and now they're making light of it on SNL's 50th reunion show. So tonally, it does seem off, and I can imagine people just wanting to stay away from it. You're going to catch shrapnel if you get involved in this drama at this point.
You know what?
That's probably the point. Like,
can I tell you,
you don't want to catch a stray.
The craziest thing about everything that's unfolding. Okay, I get the Blake Lively thing, and I know that there is a history there that people have been talking about, and the war with Justin Baldoni. But to say the word radioactive in the same sentence as Ryan Reynolds is unbelievable.
It's because we were not there. That's just not where Hollywood was, and
it was the opposite.
Complete
opposite. One of the most beloved actors in this town. And that's why, look, when you see people doing commercials, you know that they've checked out their popularity. I mean,
because normally that's something that actors don't want to do, but you know he knows he can do it because it's not going to affect his Q rating.
Yet now he is in the middle of this whole thing, and really was in the middle of it. It's just nobody knew it until now. But it's breathtaking the way he's been kind of balled up in this whole thing.
Yeah.
And by the way, his lawyer, Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, was on Billy Bush's podcast yesterday, and he had some choice words about Ryan Reynolds' choice words.
What did you think when you saw, Ryan, make light of the situation? I guess try to find some humor in all this.
I'm unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been sexually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation. I can't think of anyone who's done anything like that, and so it surprised me.
So I got to tell you, all I'm thinking in my head is one word: deposition. Because when Ryan Reynolds sits for a deposition, if it gets that far,
tell us about when you went in for the meeting and going over the script with SNL.
Well, what I'm thinking is what Brian Friedman is going to say is, so you were upset that you say your wife was harassed, and he's going to say yes, and he's going to say yet you kind of made a joke of it. Well, that's what he'll say.
More than asking Ryan, he's going to put that question to Blake, because she's sitting there, she's party to it and reacting to the lines.
You're going to do it with both, but you're going to do it with Ryan.
Right.
You're going to do it.
But my point is, do you say to Blake, you
were sitting there, you
so
co-signed
upset.
on it. You co-signed on it. So it's like these things bite you in the ass sometimes.
Right. It's sort of like when there's a case going on, we always say that you don't hear the people speak out about it at all. This happened with Alec Baldwin during his case, and he sat and did a big interview, and we're like, that was really puzzling. This is why people generally zip up when they're in the middle.
While Dane Cook was quietly nursing his heartbreak, Ryan Reynolds was reportedly burning a very public bridge with one of late-night television's most powerful figures, leading to what insiders call the curious case of the missing celebrity guest. Despite appearing on nearly every major talk show, Reynolds has been conspicuously absent from Jimmy Kimmel Live for years, a silence that sources say has nothing to do with scheduling. Once a frequent and beloved guest, Reynolds' relationship with the show allegedly unraveled during a 2018 promotional appearance when, just minutes before taping, Kimmel discovered that Reynolds' marketing company, Maximum Effort, had planned an elaborate viral stunt without informing or getting approval from the show's producers. The stunt reportedly involved planted audience members, pre-recorded video inserts, and surprise effects that would have hijacked the interview, triggering what one production assistant described as the most intense backstage confrontation they had ever witnessed, with Kimmel angrily reminding Reynolds, "This is my show, not your personal ad campaign." Although the segment aired without the stunt, crew members said the tension was unmistakable, and matters worsened days later when Reynolds appeared to mock the incident on social media, criticizing old media dinosaurs who didn't understand modern promotion. The fallout became permanent when Reynolds canceled a rescheduled appearance just hours before taping, only to appear that same night on a competing late-night show, performing the exact stunt Kimmel had rejected, prompting a senior producer to later confirm that Reynolds would never be invited back, as Kimmel felt deeply disrespected, not just as a host, but as a fellow comedian, in an industry where certain lines are not meant to be crossed.
And Ryan Reynolds really goes to show that their careers are pretty much done and over. Blake Lively more than Ryan Reynolds. Radioactive is the same word that describes them. If you look at Robert De Niro's face as well as Kevin Costner, it's extremely telling. They're done. And it's no wonder everyone avoided them like the plague. And others were just trying to keep it polite.
So, what do all these feuds really reveal about one of Hollywood's most beloved stars? Beneath Ryan Reynolds' charm and razor-sharp wit, the very qualities that helped turn him into a box office powerhouse, lies a far more complicated reality. His rise from a struggling actor with a string of high-profile flops to the head of a sprawling entertainment empire has not come without casualties. While fans see polished talk show appearances and perfectly timed social media posts, these 5 celebrities encountered a very different side of Reynolds, revealing a pattern of clashes over creative control, aggressive marketing tactics, and a relentless ambition that has left lingering resentment. Yet the bigger question remains, does any of it actually matter? With a billion-dollar Deadpool franchise, a thriving telecom venture, and major production deals, Reynolds may have reached a rare level of stardom where burned bridges no longer affect him. In an industry built on relationships, he has continued to thrive despite making powerful enemies, leaving one final question unanswered. Will these fractured connections eventually catch up with him? Or has Ryan Reynolds already outplayed Hollywood's game?